Three bombshell claims in the federal arson case against the former Turkey Leg Hut co-owner. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Andy Sirota.
And I'm Lisa Hernandez. Right now, a judge is deciding whether to keep Lynn Price in custody after prosecutors shared concerns that he threatened a witness or potential jurors. KPRC2's Bryce Newberry live in the newsroom after hours in the courtroom this morning. Bryce.
Yeah, Lisa and Andy, for the former Turkey Leg Hut owner, federal prosecutors say the turkeys have come home to roost. They say for years, Lynn Price has tried to keep his hands clean of crimes, paying off others to do the dirty work, and they want to keep him in custody during a more...
Wait a minute. For those of you who don't know, I am Dave, 10-year intellectual property attorney dealing with everything from patents, copyrights, trade secrets, as well as trademarks. You may be wondering, hey man, this guy's talking about criminality of the Turkey Leg Hut owner, the former owner to the Turkey Leg Hut. How does this have anything to do with intellectual property? Hey, just stay to the end because I will wrap it all the way around and or bring it back full circle. You're going to understand how this ties into IP and how one man's misfortunes can be another man's or woman's, for that matter, treasure or whatever the case you want to call it. So, yeah, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a backdrop before I get back to the news article. The Turkey Leg Hut owner, it was co-owned out of Houston, Texas. I was actually out in Houston a couple months ago, and it seems like from everybody I hear, hey man, lines wrapped around the corner, food tastes great, but it seems like unfortunately African Americans do sometimes, and I don't want to say just African Americans, just kind of some business owners in general, where they're kind of running crimes out the shop. It seems like in this case, Lynn Price, which was the co-owner, I think his wife was the other co-owner. They are definitely not together anymore. Seems like he was doing all types of crimes, which again, the gentleman is going to talk about. The news anchor is going to talk about. One of those crimes is kind of moving, I guess marijuana, ganja out of the Turkey Leg Hut. Other crimes included, essentially not knocking off, but making it tough on rival or on the competition as it relates to kind of their service, their products, their businesses. And as a result of all that, he's currently in prison or in jail, or kind of waiting for his day in court. And then again, a wife, she's kind of going along and did something completely different, detaching herself from the business. So now you have this kind of company that's no longer in existence, but at one point in time was booming. And part of that is you still have IP out there. And part of that IP is trademarks. Trademark is the branding. Turkey Leg Hut, the name of the actual restaurant is, one of those things about, copyright or trademarks that's different from patents and copyrights. Trademarks is only good for as long as you're using them. And to the extent that you're no longer using them anymore, then it kind of goes back to the public, goes back to the game, and somebody else can kind of pick it up. Whereas copyrights and patents, even if you're not using them, you can kind of still sit on your copyrightable matter or sit on your patentable or your invention. Whereas trademarks is not like that. If you're not using this thing, it kind of goes back into the I guess abyss, so to speak, and somebody else can protect it. And you have to kind of understand that even though it has gone back into the abyss or going back into the treasure trove that somebody else can protect, it has value already associated with it because people have kind of gone to Turkey Leg Hut and they have a positive experience from it. They're not used to the crimes and everything that the owner was doing. They kind of had positive experiences with it, at least as it relates to the food. So with that being said, the Turkey Leg Hut, the brand, the name still has value to it, even though it's kind of going back for somebody else to get. And you have to kind of look at these as business opportunities, as buying opportunities, for you to be able to kind of purchase these already valuable IP, in this case trademarks, so that you can kind of either sell it to somebody else, or now you can maybe open a restaurant and kind of call it the Turkey Leg Hut and get that business. We see it all the time where kind of companies, whether it's a shoe company, whether it's a coffee company, they're trying to use the name of the big dogs, of the Nikes, of the Starbucks. A lot of times they end up getting sued, unfortunately. However, just think if this was a way that you can kind of lean on the goodwill, lean on the value of a name legally. And this is one of those situations. So let's get back to it. I still have a lot to say on this one in terms of the opportunity. And I'm going to show you how an attorney took advantage of this opportunity. So me as an IP attorney, I'm giving you the game so you can kind of use going forward and get valuable IP. But hey, some attorneys won't do this. In other words, some attorneys will swoop it up from you, and they will try to kind of take advantage of the situation. But I'm not only am I not doing that, I'm giving you the game so you, as a regular person, can do what I guess the businesses and the private equity shops and all of them, what they would typically do in these situations. So let's get back to the video and see what this gentleman has to say and kind of go from there.
More than 2-hour hearing, an FBI agent testified that Price paid $1,400 to have his ex-business partner's bar 5015 blown up nearly 5 years ago. This is surveillance video from that early morning in June of.
Hey, the interesting thing was when I was down in Houston, I didn't realize that the Turkey Leg Hut was across the street from the 5015 bar or whatever the bar was called. But I was actually at that bar. You can tell it definitely has changed. So it seems like they recently going through some renovations, given Lynn Price burning it down, which it seems like he's responsible for kind of these two gentlemen burning it down. But I was actually at that bar back in January. Seems like it got burnt down sometime in 2023 or 2024. So I thought that was interesting as I was kind of reviewing this video.
2020, when masked men poured
so this is
gasoline
4 years
all
ago.
over the patio before that fire that then caused an explosion and destroyed the building. An indictment unsealed last week alleges that Lynn Price orchestrated this plan. The owner of that bar allegedly told FBI agents he initially planned to bring Lynn Price into that business, but then decided not to. The owner allegedly turned down a box of cash Lynn Price brought him to be part of the ownership team. And then when Bar 5015 started selling crawfish, apparently using the Turkey Leg Hut supplier, the owner said Lynn Price called screaming and hollering and threatened to blow the place up. So in the past, Lynn Price went to federal prison on tax fraud related charges. Once he got out on supervised release, prosecutors allege that he's been involved in other criminal activity, including paying a co-defendant in this arson case to steal vehicles and heavy machinery. The FBI agent testified under oath that same co-defendant admitted to bringing truckloads of hydro marijuana from California that would be stored at the Turkey Leg Hut and then got sold at the restaurant in custom branded packaging. Prosecutors allege Lynn Price got the proceeds and gave some of the money to that co-defendant. And while he's not charged connected to those allegations specifically, Price's attorney argues he is not a danger to the community. He's actually helped the community after natural disasters.
Mr. Lyndall Price deserves a bond for various reasons. One, being that he's not a danger to the community. You heard multiple testimony as it relates to his community involvement, the things that he does for the community. But more importantly,
and this reminds me of those, I guess, the drug dealers who's giving out turkeys on Thanksgiving and kind of toys to the kids on Christmas. On one end, they're hurting the community, and on the other end, they are helping the community. So again, I'm not sure whether or not this guy gets a bond or should get a bond or not. That's not my specialties. I'm an IP attorney. I'm not a criminal attorney, but it seems like you can go get a turkey leg as well as some ganja, or you could have gone to get a turkey leg as well as some hydro from this Turkey Leg Hut when it was open. So let's continue to see what the attorney has to say, and then we're going to wrap it up with the the knowledge of the day here. Let's go.
co-defendants that are on his indictment have all been given a bond. So we're asking for equity and asking for a bond similar to the other people on his indictment.
The federal judge ended this hearing by saying there's a lot to think about and she's going to chew on it. We don't yet know when she'll make a decision about keeping Lynn Price in custody.
And Bryce, we understand Lynn Price is accused of another arson.
Yeah, so it seems like this guy Lynn Price was definitely committing crimes left and right. I do want to pull up one more thing, which again, this kind of gets off into the intellectual property side of things, and why I said that this stuff is valuable. And I'm trying to give you guys a game so that you guys can do what this person did. So this is the application, the trademark application for the Turkey Leg Hut. You see the mark Turkey Leg Hut. This was actually filed by one Simone Redwine Esquire. The Esquire means she is an attorney down in Houston. So as I was telling you guys, when was this filed? This was filed just earlier this year in 2025. So I probably should have kind of blurred out the number, even though it's public information here. But anyways, the attorney Simone Redwine, she actually filed for the trademark Turkey Leg Hut, which kind of goes, it's kind of going back to what I said earlier. When you are no longer using a trademark, it goes back until the abyss of potential trademarks that people can file for a trademark application and acquire. And I'm trying to give you guys a game so that you guys can do essentially what she did, because she understood that, hey, this term Turkey Leg Hut still has value, even though the restaurant no longer existed, even though the restaurant no longer exists. The trademark still has value. And if I can get the trademark and maybe try to sell it to somebody else who can use it, or Simone, she may end up kind of building a restaurant and trying to take advantage of the goodwill that was associated with the former turkey leg hut, and kind of try to monetize off of it from there. So you guys have to start looking at, okay, these businesses that's going through something, whether they're going through a bankruptcy. I think we talked that with the Nicola, with the car company. They have patents, they have trademarks that these big companies, these private equity shops are going to look up and try to get that IP for the low and use it to their advantage. You guys need to start doing something similar, where when these companies are going through troubled times, or they're facing bankruptcy or closing for whatever reason, some criminality or whatever the case may be, to look, okay, what IP is associated with that company? First of all, is it a good company? And to the extent that that's a good company, even though the owners did not manage it well, what IP is associated with that company? Is it patents? Is it trademarks? Is it copyrights? Let me see how I can get that IP and try to monetize off of it myself. So again, I talk about that all in my ebook that I just came out with a couple weeks ago called Got IP. Check that out in the description. But I mean, at the end of the day, man, this AI stuff is coming. I actually had a guy, one of my best friends who I went to law school with. He actually just called me right before I got on and said, "Hey, man, I have an idea that I want to probably try to move on it from an IP perspective and want to talk it through with you." And again, this guy's making $200,000 as $200,000 as an attorney. So again, man, this stuff is not just, you're not necessarily trying to get IP just because you don't have it figured out or you're trying to get by. No, people who are making a ton of money, they aren't even trying to get into the IP game. And obviously, like I said, he has an advantage because I'm his boy and we can kind of talk the IP out. But again, whether you are, somebody who's trying to get by off a $40,000, $50,000 salary, or making $200,000, $300,000, this IP stuff is applicable. We all know AI is coming. We all have ideas that we want to try to act on. And one of those initial steps that you need to be thinking about and doing is protecting your intellectual property. So you see some old red wine, the attorney, again, she's an attorney in Houston. I would imagine that she's making a good deal of money, and she's still collecting trademarks, collecting intellectual property. My buddy that I just told you guys about, collecting intellectual property, trying to act on his ideals, turn them into a real thing. I was actually looking at, shout out to Black Millionaires on IG, looking at their IG page. They're talking about in 2034, so in 9 years, half of the workforce, 9 to 5 is going to go away. So, we all know, hey, typically you go to your 9 to 5, work them 8 hours, you're probably only working 2 or 3 hours and maybe 4 hours on a good day. So with AI coming, trust me, they're like, man, hey, in 2034, in 9 years, they're going to slash half of the workforce such that they're going to be freelancers. They're going to be, hey, you know how you go to the Mexicos, I was in Greece, people out selling fruits and stuff like that on the streets. They're going to be freelancers in that way, where you got to really kind of hit it hard or work hard to try to kind of make ends meet. And again, this is a good time to, if you have an idea, you have a business idea, a product, whatever the case may be, you want to protect your intellectual property and look at opening those things. Because again, 2034, they say half of that workforce is going to be slashed. 9 to 5 is going to be a thing of the past. You're going to have to actually work for your finances, and you can get out ahead of that. We all have ideas, whether you are making a ton of money, whether you're not making a ton of money. You may want to start acting on those ideals, protecting the intellectual property and trying to start a business around whatever it is, whether it's a service, whether it's a widget that you're or a product that you're selling. And again, a big part of that is this IP. So go check out the ebook in the description. And man, hey, if you guys don't get nothing else out of this thing, if you go into business, don't start committing crimes, because you will get caught and you will forfeit all your intellectual property, if not for free, for a discount. And other people such as me, such as Small Red Wine, will swoop it up for little to nothing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Please hit that subscribe button to be a part of the IP community, and leave your comments in the comment section. Did you like Turkey Leg Hut? Now I went to Trail Burgers, and Trail Burgers was that hey, they were really good down in Houston. Unfortunately, obviously, I didn't get a chance to go to the Turkey Leg Hut because it wasn't around, but I've heard great things about it, all positive reviews. So let me know if you like the Turkey Leg Hut. Seems like those lines was wrapped around the corner, so it definitely had a good product that people wanted. So again, maybe this Simone, she can kind of try to retweak things and bring it back out, or she can kind of sell the trademark to the owner of the 5015 bar, and they can kind of maybe coexist or something like that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.